Meryl, you've been on a tour in Australia with the film Vaxxed. I
That's
imagine,
right.
I imagine you feel like Bonnie and Clyde on the run from the police.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Morris. I think that it's more that the government feels like they've been the ones who've been on the run because no matter what they did and no matter what they tried, they could not stop these screenings and seminars from going ahead. And what's more than that, and this is the kind of stupidity that bureaucracy continually displays, and that is that no matter how much they could see that all their constant bad press wasn't working, they kept giving us all this amazing bad press that drove more and more people to the screenings and the seminars. We were sold out at every single seminar and screening after the first two or three simply because of the media and the government attacking us. It made people wonder what is going on? Why are they acting like this? I need to know what's happening here. So they did a great job for us.
There's an expression, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So, what did the media say? Did they say you were a bunch of crazies or what?
Oh, there was one. There was one journalist for the Gold Coast Bulletin. What did Polly Tommy call him? Jack the Rat. He actually came. He was the only journalist who came to a screening, and he published an article. Now I don't know if journalists do their own headlines. It's probably a sub editor or editor who put the headline up there. But they called us fruit of the loons, and you just had to laugh. You really had to laugh because it's so ridiculous. And COAG, which is the Commonwealth Heads of Government, it's the premiers and ministers from various states. They had a meeting about halfway through the tour, and they put together a proclamation rejecting anyone who questions vaccination. Which, I mean, so they reject us. We reject their bigotry and their lack of support for democracy. I mean, what difference does it make that they reject us? It doesn't mean we don't exist, and it doesn't mean we don't have valid concerns. We do.
So you were with the producers and the team that produced Vaxxed, and
That's right.
how would they rate Australia in a global sense in terms of being I don't know, open to a conversation about vaccinations?
With the people, they said the Australian people were incredibly strong, and they are. They are incredibly strong, very well informed, very committed. With the government, they said Australia is the worst country in the world, and sadly, I think that's probably true. We are the only democracy that does not have some form of a Bill of Rights or a Statement of Rights, and this is why our government gets away with the sorts of discriminatory and bigoted treatment that they mete out to anyone who questions them. I'm sure you've heard that Polly Tommy, who is a mother of a seriously vaccine-injured son, has been given a 3-year ban under terrorism laws from entering Australia. So now questioning the government's health policy is equated with terrorism. It is laughable. It's really laughable. I mean, it makes Australia out to look like fools and the Australian government. And to be honest, they are.
You know, it's laughable, but on a more serious note, we need some kind of revolution. May it be peaceful, but I mean, this whole form of governance is incompetent.
It is, yes, it is incompetent and it is corrupt because Australian politicians right now, and there are many of them from the Prime Minister down, I think we've discussed before about how the Prime Minister has serious conflicts of interest through his own share trading and through his wife, who is the chairman of the board of Prima Biomed, which has got some pretty lucrative deals with vaccine manufacturers. These people it appear to me, anyway, in my personal opinion, to be more interested in lining their own pockets and protecting corporate interests than they are in governing fairly or equitably. the Australian people who elected them.
Indeed. Well, look, you're going to Western Australia next, I believe, with
I am.
Vaxxed.
Yes, that's right.
So I don't know what you can what can you say to the people in Western Australia if they're looking and listening to you?
Oh,
Why
well,
should they go?
what I can say is, first of all, be part of this revolution of information. I mean, the information revolution is what we need to be having. Because when enough people become informed about the real issues behind vaccination, then there will be a revolution of, and I'm not talking about a violent revolution. I don't want violence. I am more in the Gandhi manner of thinking that things should be carried out than anything else. But we need a revolution of people who will not stand for tyranny and not stand for fascism. And right now, the government of Australia is a fascist tyranny. And until we get enough people to say, I'm not going to take it, it will continue. So come to the screening, see Vaxxed. I mean, what I was really amazed at, because Vaxxed has been out for over a year, I would ask people at the screenings, how many of you have not seen Vaxxed before tonight? And usually 3/4 of the people in the audience would stand up and say they hadn't seen it, which I was really surprised at. So if you haven't seen it, come out and see it. If you have seen it, come out and see it. The feeling of support and I'm trying to think of the right word, where you are all on the same page and you are helping each other. Empowerment is power. It is so amazing at these events. And ask questions. We're going to have a Q&A. We're going to get at least one of the U.S. Vax team to appear by Skype. Of course, at this point in time, we don't think any of them would be allowed in the country if they tried to come in. And, you know, we actually kept it a secret until they were here that they were coming. And I personally thought, this is really too cloak and dagger. We don't need to do that. But what the immigration people told Polly Tommy when they gave her the ban was, if we had known you were coming, we wouldn't have let you in the country. So that's the sort of fear that the government has of anybody becoming informed about this issue. And if the government is trying that hard to hide it, you know you need to become informed about it.
Okay, I can think a couple more questions. Part of the feature of Vaxxed, and no doubt your personal experience, is the people that become aware of vaccinations and perhaps the risk and fear of them were not like that initially. They were following the doctor's advice and they had faith in the medical system. I mean, we're not talking about people that were raised as hippies or revolutionaries, just normal folk, if you like. Well, go and answer that first, please.
Sure. Well, you know, anyone who asks a question, any kind of question about the safety or effectiveness of vaccines is automatically labeled an anti-vaxxer. I'm labeled an anti-vaxxer. I had a child who was injured by his vaccines. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I don't think it's my responsibility or my role to tell you what to do with your child. I am an ex-vaxxer. There is no way that I would ever take another vaccine or give one to my child. My children are old enough to make their own decisions now. But I am an ex-vaxxer. I believe that the risks of vaccination far outweigh the benefits for my family. And I have made that choice. But all I care about is that you and everyone else has access to the real information about the risks and benefits, or if there are any risks and effectiveness of vaccinations, so they can make their own personal decision. They are adults. They should be treated as adults, not as mushrooms. So, you know, I just think that the government is immoral in withholding this information, suppressing it, and censoring it.
There must be, and perhaps this is the last question, there must be an angle on this where we think there's a sinister plot behind it all. What are they trying to do to the population? What is their compulsion in administering this? I'm very reluctant to buy into the line that's for profit. I don't believe our wars, I don't believe a lot of things that we're told about are for profit. I don't think Monsanto is about profit. But please answer about vaccinations and the suspicion it could be a sinister.
I wish I knew the answer to that, Maurice. I have no doubt that if we continue to vaccinate everyone, trying to achieve that 100% vaccination rate, which is what the governments are doing, that we've already done it. We've already caused several generations of children to be the sickest and the most likely to die in modern history. In every country where mass vaccination is used, the more vaccines we use in the first 12 months of life, the higher the death rate, the higher the rate of disability. Right now in Australia, 1 child in 21 is autistic, and we're supposed to hit 1 in 1. Well, I mean, in the US, it's going to be 2032. Australia uses 2 MMR vaccines in the time that the US uses 1. So there is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that vaccines are causing widespread disability, widespread death, brain damage, all sorts of problems that never used to exist and are now quite common. Does the government know that this is happening? Is that why they are doing it? I don't think so myself. I think that there could be some people. Our government is a puppet, first of all. Our government doesn't even exist to rule us. Our government is part of a corporation that is there to make money for someone, to give power to someone. They are just following orders. It's time for us to stop following orders. If there is a conspiracy to kill people, we better find out before it kills too many more. I honestly don't know. All I know is that vaccines are killing our children and destroying their minds, and we need to reach a point where people are willing and brave enough to make informed decisions and stop following orders. We need to protect our children. Our government's not doing it. Our government thinks they own our children. We need to tell them we are in control of our children and our own bodies, and no government that is legitimate can ever tell us what we have to do for our children and ourselves. If there is a risk, there must always be a choice, and if they want to take that choice away from us, they're going to have a fight on their hands.
Tell me, Meryl, and thank you. Is there anything I should have asked that I didn't that you'd like to add, please?
Just that one thing that is very important is that people who have had reactions or whose children have had reactions must report these reactions when they can. It doesn't have to be something that happened, 6 weeks ago. It can be 6 years ago. It can be 16 years ago. It doesn't matter. Go to avn.org.au, and at the top of the page, there's something that says report a vaccine reaction. Report it to us. Report it to the TGA. There's a link to the TGA there. And if you live in WA, Tasmania, or far north Queensland, which is where the next 2 screenings are going to be, please contact us and say that you would like to share your story. I will film the stories and share them on the AVN YouTube channel and also on the channels for Vaxxed. We Are Vaxxed and Vaxxed TV. The more stories we get out there, the harder it is for the government to hide the fact that there are so many people being killed and injured by vaccines.
I have one last question.
Sure.
Donald Trump hired a Kennedy and someone to investigate into vaccinations, and there's rumors that he may have a vaxxed child. But in any event, did it add up to anything? Did it have it? Why even was it stated?
Donald Trump hasn't hired Kennedy yet. When he was running for president, he said that he wanted to set up a vaccine safety commission with Bobby Kennedy Jr. Running it, because Bobby Kennedy Jr. runs the World Mercury Project, and he is a skeptic when it comes to vaccination, and all of his kids are vaccinated. So what my understanding is that this is progressing slowly, but the commission has not been set up yet. At the screening Q&As, Dr. Brian Hooker was asked about this several times, and he said that he thinks it's very close to having the safety commission set up. Once that safety commission is set up, depending on the powers that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is going to be given, the powers of discovery, the powers of actually getting into these companies and finding out what they have hidden. This is, I hate to say it, because I thought when the CDC whistleblower, when William Thompson, when his information came out, I thought this is it. Now we have the proof. This is going to come out, and this is going to blow everything out of the water. And of course, because the media didn't report it, it never happened. But this commission could be very different because, as you know, Donald Trump tweets everything, and he goes straight to the American people. If this commission finds something untoward, I'm sure that he will tweet it. And once it's tweeted, he goes out to tens of millions of Americans, let alone how many people around the world. It's going to, I believe, maybe I'm an optimist, but I believe that this is going to make a huge difference, and it can't come soon enough for me.
Meryl, thank you so much. I hope you
Thank
can
you.
come back soon.
I can. I'd love to. That would be great.
Well,
Maybe after WA.
Yes, thank you. That would be good.
All right. No worries. Well, you take care, Morris. Thank you so much.